had grown a little deformed. They looked kind of like this. I can't really show you. They just were deformed. And the guy lifted his head, and Sophia goes, "That's the guy I was supposed to pray for." So we began to pray for him, and then both of us just like felt this like shock go through his foot, and we asked him to take his shoes off, and all his toes were straight except the pinky. The Lord had told him that he left his pinky a little deformed as a reminder for him to keep on seeking miracles. And now he's a missionary in Tonga with his wife. And so, yeah.
Well, yeah, this guy, he was about to go to Tonga, and he was like so upset because he's like, I can't wear flip-flops. And Lord, I'm leaving in like a month. Lord, I can't wear flip-flops, and I want to fit in. But that night, the Lord heard his prayer and sent a little girl to go pray for him, and he was healed. I'd like to have Lexi come and share a story. I've grown my kids up in believing the impossible, just like my parents did with me. And I remember as a kid, I was a kid, and we went to this deaf-mute school. And I remember my dad would always say, everything is possible. And so I believed it. And I just remember that the Lord said, if you can get them in a circle to say the name Jesus, I will heal them. And I was like, how do I tell them to say Jesus? And I'm trying to ask them. I was like, yeah, sign language that I don't know, make it up. And I just remember saying Jesus, like I don't know. And so I have no idea how we got them to say it. The Lord did it, and they just began to say Jesus. And that whole group of girls, there was about 15 girls, began to speak and began to hear for the first time. I remember praying also at a revival meeting that we had, and there was this girl, and she came up to the front, and she had a hat on. She had just gone through chemotherapy, and she was just very embarrassed that she had lost her hair. And I remember that me and this other girl went to go pray for her, and her hat fell to the floor, and her hair grew back. I remember also as a kid wanting to go to a training, and I went in and they were having a funeral, and I remember being very upset because there was a funeral there, and I was like, what is he doing being dead? And so me and my friends went over and we prayed for him in the casket, and he got up and we had our service. You see, when you begin to believe that God can do everything, and you pass that on to your kids like my parents passed it on to me, it gets exciting. And it gets exciting to see when God starts to use your kids. And so I wanted Lexi to share a story when she was 6. We were in Costa Rica.
Okay. So we were in Costa Rica for, not the first time because we were there in language school, but we were in this park called Wellborn, Costa Rica, and it's like a banana country is what I like to call it. I don't know why. It's just a banana country. It's a banana
field.
It's a banana country. And so we went door to door seeing if they needed like basic help, like raking leaves, prayer, anything really that we could help with. And we come to this house, and we go in, and this lady, all her life has been in a wheelchair. She's a grandma, she has kids, she has grandkids, everything. She hasn't been able to step out of that wheelchair for her entire life. So we prayed for her, and we went outside, and before we went to knock on the door, her kids came outside running, saying she's up and out, and I'm like, what? So we run back to the house, and she's just like running around the whole room, jumping. So it's just awesome. And later that night, Limon is like really small, like where we were at, and so later that night, everybody in that
Her family came.
Her family came to that service and got baptized, healed, and
saved.
Remarkable.
They got saved. Like what Ollie said, God does spectacles to bring salvation. And that night, the Lord used her, and her family got saved. And so many people came to experience that healing moment where you have the opportunity to witness to a whole city. And you see, when you begin to believe that and walk in it yourself, because I am a firm believer, you cannot teach what you've not experienced. Mm-hmm. And I get tired of seeing leaders talk about healings, talk about miracles, and never have experienced one.
Go ahead.
I have heard so many leaders talk about taking risks, but they don't want to. It's embarrassing. But what if God doesn't do anything? Well, so what? What if God does?